to Yoga Pilates Fusion. I'm grateful that you're here. Hope you had a great holiday. So we are going to start out lying down, and you can either just lie down or you can add the extra support underneath your back to kind of create that little shoulder opener. I'm a fan of it because it helps me access a deeper breath. So I'm going to use a pillow, but you could use 2 yoga blocks or a rolled up blanket, anything you've got handy at your house that will elevate part of your spine and let the shoulders open around the object. So I use lots of different things. I just like try to shake it up a little bit. So I cannot guarantee there will not be some interference from furry creatures, but we'll hope for the best this morning. All right, so with my back here, and what I've got with the pillow and also with the blocks is I pretty much just get my shoulder blades on the object and then kind of tuck them toward each other a little bit. And as long as my elbow touches the ground, I'm usually okay. Now you can do this constructive rest position with the legs. You could extend the legs all the way out. That, for me, lifts my rib cage a little bit more and creates a tiny bit more of a sense of a back bend or a little bit more of a shoulder opener. The first version is a little bit more relaxed. And then somewhere in between, for me anyway, is the butterfly position with the legs, although now there's kind of a spicy, not too spicy, but a little spicy inner thigh stretch. So you can choose one of those, or if you've got another one, let me know, because I'm always looking for new options. I haven't come up with another one yet. And then we'll take a few moments to breathe. And we're trying to let the rib cage expand so we can get a little movement going in the intercostal muscles. And then you, of course, if there's restriction there, sometimes the muscle gets a little tight when we sleep. So if there's restriction there, occasionally you might need to take a really deep breath and use more of the abdomen than the ribs. And what we're doing with the breath right now is just trying to free up the muscles in the chest and the muscles in between the ribs so that we have access to that. So that if we're squeezing our abdominals in to do the Pilates work, we can access some of the other muscles to help us with breathing. Do about 2 more breaths. Maybe it'll turn into 3. And I'm going to bring my feet in, roll to the side, slide this guy out from under me. And then for me, there's always a little impact, right? So with something a little more firm like the block or the pillow, it's a little bit like my back kind of spreads out across the floor. It feels a little wider. The shoulder kind of falls back a little bit. When I use the blanket, there's a little bit more concentrated, almost like an impression left behind. So whichever version is true, or your, whatever you feel, you can do a little bit of a kind of rock back and forth, or you can move those tissue areas around a little bit just to kind of get a sense of freedom. All right. So I've got my feet out kind of wide. I'm doing a little windshield wipers. I'm going to turn this into a twist in a second. So if you want to, you have a few more breaths to do whatever you like, but you could float your knees up when you're ready, and then you'll take the legs over to one side. Doesn't matter which side you start with. Just pick a side. You can wrap your legs one around the other. You can stack them up. You could stick a block underneath. Sometimes I like to do both of those things, block underneath and then wrap things around, so you can play with the angles. And then we're going to try to get a nice big stretch through this chest muscle. So whatever way you went, so I went to the right, so my left chest muscle is the muscle that I'm really after. So I'm going to reach that arm out until I feel that little tension across the pec, and then I'm just letting my hip fall that way as it feels okay to do. Past several days at my neighborhood, they've been doing yard work for starting bright and early in the morning, so I apologize for any sounds of lawnmowers and other things. Hopefully, mostly it'll be me. So we're going to hold here for just a couple more breaths, kind of letting this chest muscle release out. I'm pressing my, so I took my legs to the right, so I'm pressing my left shoulder down just a little bit and then moving my left hip a little bit away from that armpit. So I'm getting a good long stretch through the chest and the hip. And then we're going to exhale, come on back to the center. Pause there, give yourself a little moment to relax. I like to shake out the arm a little bit too, just to release that chest muscle. And then when you're ready, we'll take the legs over the opposite direction. Okay, still gotcha. Now I'm going to check the screen every few seconds to make sure you're here. And so we'll let the hip come over, let the armpit kind of work its way towards the ground. Again, I'm trying to get my right shoulder nice and heavy and my right hip a little farther away from that armpit. Within reason, given whatever the circumstances are. Sometimes like we have a little bit of tight tissue around the outer hip, sometimes it's the chest muscle, sometimes it's the back muscles that might resist these kinds of movements. So work with what you got. 2 more big breaths here. Now when your exhale finds you, come on back to the middle, take a moment to shake that side out. Okay, so depending on the space that you have in your room that you're currently working out in, you might decide to do one of these things. So I'm going to bring my knees over and basically just curl the knees in toward the armpit, trying to maintain my shoulder stability. You could also scissor the legs, so one leg kind of curls back and one leg straightens out, or you could straighten out both legs. Okay, for me, that's the most challenging of the 3. And then once you come back to the middle, just use your lower abdominal muscles, lift the pelvis. Then we're going over to the opposite side, and whichever one you've picked is the one you're going to do. So we're just going to go back and forth about 6 times. Over, just to warm up. Now this try to use the obliques to curl in or to stabilize yourself. Use those lower abdominals to give that little extra curl in the middle. You can feel yourself work from those muscles and not from momentum, which I sometimes find challenging. Okay, so I'm going to do one more set. And when you finish your last round and you're even on both sides and you curl in, grab your right leg if you can, let your pelvis come back down, and then straighten out your left leg. So hold in the right leg, we're going to spin that foot in circles. opposite direction. We're going to point and flex the foot. Okay, so now hugging that leg in as snug as you can. Reach out really nicely long through that left leg. And then we're going to let go of this right leg and reach it up. Now, you can bring your hands behind your head, or you could, if you have a yoga block, you can hold a yoga block between your hands. This I find makes it a little more challenging. So we're going to take the left side, the block, or the left elbow up towards that right pinky toe, okay? So bringing either the elbow up towards the pinky toe, or holding the block and trying to keep that lined up with your ears, bringing that up with the pinky toe, okay? So whichever one of those is appropriate for you given the circumstances. You can lift this left leg up a little bit to make it a little more challenging to stay stable. Inhale on your way down, exhale on your way up. Four more. Now when you get down, after that fourth one, bring that leg down, take your right leg down, bring your left leg to meet your right leg, widen your feet out. We'll do a little back and forth, little windshield wipers, or whatever feels good to you as a kind of rinse out. Give yourself a big long stretch. All right, so we got to bring the left leg in, grab hold of it, let the pelvis come back down, stretch out through the right leg. You can let that leg relax. And then we're going to spin that left foot in circles. And then go the opposite direction with the circles. All right, still gotcha. And then we're going to point and flex the foot. So I'm going to hug that leg in nice and tight, stretch through that right front of my hip, right leg. All right, so lifting the left leg up, and again, you can either hover that right leg or leave it resting on the floor. You can either hold the block if you've got a block at your house, or put your hands behind your head. We're going to curl up towards that pinky toe or the big toe, whichever aiming point you want, and then exhale on your way up. Inhale on your way down. Try to feel yourself initiating this action from the obliques. Four more. When you've gotten that fourth one, put your legs down. Ooh. Give yourself one more chance to kind of rinse things out, whether that's with the little windshield wipers or some other choice. Sometimes a back massage feels really good. Give yourself a big stretch. All right, yogis, we're going to flip this whole situation upside down. Just roll yourself up and over. You might have to rearrange your mat situation. Plant your hands nice and firm on the floor, up a little high on your shoulders. Stretch back through the legs, press them into the ground, lift into a cobra. Come on back down, slide the hands back an inch or so. Press the palms down, press the legs down, lift into cobra. And as we lift, we're opening up the collarbones, kind of widening the chest. Come on back down one more time, a little back, lift, and then come back. All right, so we're gonna take this whole thing back to a child's pose, or you can pause at the all fours position if you and child's pose are not good friends. You may wind up in an all fours kind of position. Anyway, we're going to take the right arm, thread it under the left arm. Now you can take your left arm up and over, or leave your left hand on the floor, kind of aid you in pressing, I like to reach my left arm all the way up and kind of push almost like on a diagonal. So I can dig my shoulder into the floor and stretch through the upper back. So choosing what's appropriate for you. We're kind of using the weight, the body weight and the floor to help position the shoulder into a point where we can kind of get a little leverage on that upper back stretch. Hopefully it's working out. Now, we're going to plant this right hand nice and firm and then come all the way out of here. Shift your weight so that you can take that, whatever arm you had underneath you out, and then the opposite leg. So we've got a nice long spinal balance. If that took more than a couple steps, that's fine too. You're going to exhale, curl the knee and the elbow together, round your back, stretch back out. Curl elbow and knee together, round your back, stretch back out. Maybe you can even touch your forehead, I don't know. Stretch back out. Oh, we're going to lower that down. Opposite side, so the left arm's going to go under, or whatever, whatever one you didn't do last time. Adjust the shoulders so that you get the just right amount of kind of leverage on your upper back. We're going to take a nice big breath. Oh, and then we're going to do the same thing. So press your hand into the floor. Try to find some stability. That arm goes out, opposite leg. Oh, stretch between those 2 points. Draw this waist in just a little bit. Nice big breath. And then we're going to exhale, curl in. Stretch out. Exhale, curl in. Stretch out. Exhale, curl in. Stretch out, big long stretch. Oh, lower it down. All right, we still got most of you. Give yourself a little bit of movement in your back if you like. Oh. So we're going to take this into downward facing dog. If downward facing dog is not your jam, then you can stay with an all fours position, maybe do some more cat shapes, or get yourself into a standing position in a way that makes sense. Okay. Now, when you've had enough downward dog, and I don't know when that point is going to be, but when you have come to a forward bending shape, you can lift out and fold in. A few times. Then we're going to come all the way to standing. Give yourself a nice big lift and a big stretch. And then we'll bring ourselves to a mountain pose. So again, there's certain poses I like as sort of touchstones, little places that we land in multiple times so that we can check in. Down dog, child's pose, mountain pose are some of my favorite options. So start by just getting yourself in the pose and then notice how things feel. Are the shoulders even? Does it feel like it's easy to keep the weight evenly distributed on your feet, or do you want to kind of lean in one leg or the other? Sometimes if there's a little chronic pain, we'll develop habits of kind of avoiding it by putting the weight in different places in the body, so it's interesting to notice those things. Grow a little taller if you can. And then we'll take the arms up and reach. Oh, exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Now, I'm going to step back to dog first and then take myself into a lunge, but you can step, plank, you can step directly to the plank if you like. So once we get there, you can hover. You can hover with one leg in the air, or you can modify the plank so that you've got one knee down or both. And then we'll take 2 more breaths. Hug in the navel, one more. That's why we did all that work at the beginning. Lower down, coming into a cobra or an upward dog, and then back to your downward dog. Now you can go to all fours instead. Take your right leg up, nice big long stretch. We're gonna bring that knee straight down the middle, curl up, stretch it back, try to take it to the upper right arm. Come back, bring it across towards the left arm. Come back, sink into your left heel a bit, stretch through that right leg. We're gonna step it forward. Now we're gonna come to warrior 2. So I put my leg way out to the side because that's the easiest way to step forward. Then I just move it into place, bring my foot to the ground. And then once I'm up, I can feel, do I need to modify that to make my hips happy? Not everyone can step forward all the way for a variety of reasons. You got long legs, short arms, you got stuff in the way, not enough flexibility. So just get yourself into position and then wiggle it. And then we're gonna take 3 we're gonna segment 3 poses, well, 4 poses technically. So we're gonna go to reverse warrior. Take a big breath. As you exhale, come to side angle. Take a big breath. Exhale, come to triangle. Take a big breath. Exhale, come to warrior 2. Take a breath. So transitioning with the exhale, inhaling inside of that pose. At whatever pace is your pace. One more round. All right, so now we're going to take ourselves into a balancing pose. So we're going to lean forward. I might want to bring this back leg a little further in. Maybe a block or something like that would be helpful. Shift the weight. Pick that left leg up. See if we can extend out. If you start to fall, catch with your foot. Utilize whatever you've got around you to help you find the right alignment. Now we're going to bring this knee, bring it in, put the foot down beside the other one, come up halfway, exhale, fold, come all the way to standing, give yourself a big stretch, and then we'll find that mountain pose. Once again, having done one side but not the other, can you feel a difference between your 2 hemispheres, standing and mountain? Ooh. I know I can. Nice big stretch. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold again. You can step directly to plank or back to dog. And then you can modify your plank with one leg, one knee down, and one leg, or both knees down. We're going to hold here for a couple breaths. And then lower yourself down, coming into your cobra or your upward dog, taking it back. Left leg goes up. Exhale, bring it right down the center. Inhale back. Exhale towards that upper left arm. Inhale back. Exhale towards that inside right elbow. Sink into your right heel if you can. And then step your foot forward. And again, we're going to take a second just to wiggle into place. Come on up. And some of us might pull that off a little more smoothly than others, but we're all hitting the same place. Nice big breath. Exhale your transition. Nice big breath. Exhale the transition to triangle. Transition to warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale your transition to side angle. Inhale. Exhale the transition to triangle. Inhale. Ooh, exhale that transition to warrior two. Ooh, inhale. Exhale the transition. Inhale. Exhale transition. Inhale. Exhale transition. Inhale. One more time. All right, so this is where we're going to take ourselves into the balancing pose. So, prepping yourself in whatever way seems appropriate. We'll launch ourselves into a half moon balance. Oh, get nice and stretchy. Ooh, one more. And then we're going to bring the knee in, put the foot on the ground, come up halfway. Ooh, fold it over. Come all the way to standing. Oh. Give yourself a little jiggle. And then find your way into a mountain pose. Oh. And see if it feels a little more even than it did the last time we joined up here. Oh. All right, so we're going to do a standing balance pose again on the other leg. And you can choose any version that you like. I'm going to do a version of the dancer that I cannot pull off without a strap. So I'm going to try it with the strap around my foot. And then, so I'm going to stand on my right leg. I'm going to try to get my left leg into the strap. I'm going to bring it all the way up and over. Because what I'm going to attempt to do is reach back over my head. And some people can reach back and hold the toe, but I cannot. Now, if you're using the strap to balance, if you start to fall, let go of the strap with your hands so you can catch yourself. So what I like about this is I get a stretch in my arms and in my thigh all at the same time, and it feels pretty. One more breath, and it's a little bit of a challenge. All right, so I'm gonna let go, step back, and turn this into a warrior one. So warrior one, I'm gonna kind of aim myself a little bit more toward the front as best I can with my back leg. Rib cage can twist a little bit more. Plant the legs nice and firm. Lift the arms up. We're gonna stretch ourselves forward. Let everything fold over. And then hopefully, not falling over, we're gonna roll ourselves back up. Ooh, one vertebrae at a time. We're as close as we can get. So stretch it out. And then try to roll it up. Feel each of those little vertebrae make their way into place. One more time. Stretch it out. Roll it up. All right, so now we're going to stretch this front leg all the way out straight. I'm going to turn my back leg around just a little bit more so I can get a little bit more of a forward angle with my hips, keeping this knee just a little bent while I'm moving. Then I'm going to try to straighten it all the way out and figure out where my torso can go. So for me, if I keep the knee bent while I try to get in here, it'll shift my stretch right into my sit bone. But if I get in a little bit and then straighten the leg out and figure out how close can my torso go, I'll actually put more of the stretch in the middle of my hamstrings. That may not be true for you, so experiment. So if I keep my torso a little bit lower than level and my leg all the way straight, I get a really nice stretch all the way through the whole back of my leg. Right now, that's where it wants to stay. Spread out the toes. Press them all down a little. All right, so we're going to step ourselves back to down dog. Or again, you can go straight to your plank. And then, having made a decision about that, lower yourself down. Come into your cobra or your upward dog. Take yourself back to your downward dog. We're going to take that right leg up and give it a little shake. And then we'll step it forward. Bring your left one up to meet it. Come up halfway. Exhale, fold. And we're going to come all the way up to standing. Give it a big stretch. And come back to your mountain pose again. So again, just pause with the mountain. Put myself into position here. See if you can notice a difference. Sometimes for me, the first time I do an asymmetrical sequence, it's much more intense than the second time. So again, we're going to shift the weight. You can do any balancing pose. If you'd prefer to do a tree or something like that, you can. You can do a dancer in the normal sense where you just reach back with one hand, or you can kind of follow me as you like. Ooh, a little wobbly. Take in one more breath. And then we're going to let go and step back and try to find that warrior one shape with the legs. All right. So the arms are going to come up, spine stretch forward, reaching out, and then rolling back up. Reaching out, rolling back up. Just go on your pace. Try to feel the little vertebrae slide into place. One more time. Oh, I love that. It feels so good. And then I'm turning all my toes this way as best I can. Again, I'm going to fold forward, kind of catch myself along the way here. Organize my hips and my legs. And then I'm going to straighten out my leg and see how far into that before I feel that hamstring stretch that I'm after. Whole back of my thigh, not just the sit bone or the knee. And again, for me, the mechanics are straighter leg, less torso to back off, more torso fold forward to add on. And for you, check out the mechanics, see what's best. All right, yogis. 2 more breaths. And then we're going to step back to down dog. Or again, you can go directly to your plank. Give that leg a little shimmy. And then we're going to come forward and lower all the way down. All right, let's do a little of the Pilates kind of locust play. So I am gonna let my arms rest beside me. You can bring your arms around behind your back if that's okay with your shoulders. I've turned my head so I'm resting on one cheek. When I come to the middle, I'm gonna bring my head to the center and then to the opposite cheek. We're gonna bend the knees, give the heels a little kick in. 1, 2, 3, then extend through the legs, lift yourself. Everything draws towards the center line, and then we come on back down. 1, 2, 3, lift, extend, coming down. 1, 2, 3, lift, extend, coming down. 1, 2, 3, lift, extend. We're gonna do 2 more, coming down. 1, 2, 3, lift. One more. 1, 2, 3, lift. Good, coming down. We're gonna extend the right arm up overhead, roll onto the right side. Hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked. If I bring my legs a little further forward, it's gonna provide more stability. If I line them up, making sure I'm not gonna hit a plant, it's a little bit more wobbly. If I lift the legs a little bit and try to create only the anchor point between the torso and the shoulder, it's a little wobblier. So you'll have to do more abdominal support to help hold yourself there. So we're gonna lift the top leg, rotate it outward so the toe points up. If you can, rotate that, externally rotate that bottom leg as well. And then we're gonna try to circle this leg without the torso wobbling. So hug in through the sides of your waist. Try to hold your torso nice and stable. You can use your arm for some assistance. Ooh, 2 more. All right, so then we're gonna pause and then internally rotate this top leg. So we're gonna roll it all the way around. The toes and the knee should point down a little bit. This greater trochanter, this little bone on the side of the femur, should be a little more prominent. And then we're gonna circle the leg. And this one is much harder for me to stay stable with. A little bit smaller range of motion. So really hug in through the sides of the waist. Try to maintain that stability. Let your neck stay in a neutral position. 2 more. Last one. All right, coming back down. So we're gonna keep torturing the same outer hip. We're gonna bring the heels in, lift them up. And this one I call the clams. I've also heard it called the butterfly kicks. So you can decide what to call it. We're gonna open the knees up, so we open like a little butterfly, then we're gonna maybe extend that top leg out. If that bothers your knee, just hover, and then bring the knee back down. Open, extend or hover, bring it back together. So that's the move. We're holding in steady. If you lifted that bottom knee off the ground a little bit, it would be harder to hold it stable, so you can experiment with that. If you need a bigger challenge here, for me, I love the way this just burns up my outer hip, and that's all I'm here for. So hug in the sides of the waist. We're gonna do 3 more. So last round. All right, so once your legs are back together, you're gonna bring the legs out straight. This top leg comes across. You can just hold it like that, or you can adjust it in some other way. We're gonna lift this bottom leg up. Make sure your hips are still stable and your shoulders are stable. And then pulsing the bottom leg a little higher up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. See if you can feel that moving from the belly. 2, 1. Now hold it steady and make a circle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Circle the other direction. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it up a little higher. Hold it steady for 10, 9. Don't let it drop. Lift your side waist. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let that leg come down. Unwind that top leg. So we're going to roll onto the back and do a little bit of work with the bridge. Oh. Now, depending on your strength, you may decide, because we're going to keep working this left side. So we may decide that we are going to keep both feet on the ground instead, or you can add a little bit to it. So I'll show you a couple options. So the first option is to leave the feet on the ground, lift into bridge, and then you'll simply try to come up onto the tiptoe on that right side, and then the heel on the right side. Okay, option 2 is to take this lift and then peel the leg up and bring it back down, trying to maintain the stability in your hips. And then the last option is to lift that leg and lower it and bring it up, okay? So you're gonna choose the option that you think is right for you based on whether you get hamstring cramps or otherwise. So the hips are up, and then we're either gonna do little movement here so the left side stays stable, right side moves, or the leg goes up, or the leg lifts and lowers, depending on the choice you're making. Good. 3 more. And last one. And when your foot comes back down, you'll lower down nice and steady. Pause there in the middle. Give yourself a little rinse. Now we're gonna do the whole thing on the other side. I'm gonna spin around so that I can stay pointing at you, because that generally keeps my voice quality a little more steady. Oh. Okay. Hips on top, shoulders on top. And now I'm gonna work the top leg. So the first thing is externally rotate once we're steady, and then we're going to lift that leg and circle it. Again, trying to hold really stable through the abdominals. 3 more, 2 more, last one. Pause, internally rotate. So I'm doing it with both legs, but you might only do it with the top. We're gonna circle the opposite direction, try to hold steady, keep both sides of your waist lifting towards the center line. Good, 3 more, 2 more, last one, heels together. So we're gonna bring the feet behind us, lift the heels up, restabilize so the hips are nice and steady, shoulder is nice and steady, knees go open, maybe an extension, maybe a hover, and then bring it back together. Try to hold the leg at a steady point if you extend the leg or not. So we're minimizing the amount of knee trouble and we're maximizing the amount of stability we're demanding out of that hip. So we're going to do 4 more of these. Maybe. I'm saying 4. Last one. You're at your house though, you could make other choices. So I'm enjoying that like warm pleasantness of my outer hip. Stretch the legs out. We're going to take one leg forward. Again, bottom leg lifts. Pick up your side waist, and then we're going to pulse that up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it there, circle it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Opposite direction. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it there, pulse it up, and hold steady now. 10, 9, 8, lift a little higher. 7, 6, 5. Don't let that side waist drop. 3, 2, 1. Bring the leg down. Whew. We're going to come around onto the back. So again, we've got the other side of our little bridge to go. So the left leg is going to either lift, or you're going to follow me with the little toe and heel moves, or you can do the full leg lift and lower, okay? So your choices, get into your bridge, hold it steady, and then make the right choice for you. Whether it's little toe and heel lifts, try to hold that hip steady and squeeze in that right glute, or use the leg for, sometimes I walk myself away here, up and down. All right, so we got 4 more. Last one. And then once your leg is down, you can bring the hips back down, give everything a nice big stretch. All right, yogis. We got one more thing to do here, and that are some leg lowers. Now, you could do these leg lowers with your hands cupped behind your head, shoulders curled up off the floor, or you can do the leg lowers with your head on the ground and your hands positioned in some way to create more stability. Depends on your body mechanics and how it feels to you. You just want to keep your low back in a nice neutral curve, not arching or flattening. Okay, so legs go up, squeeze them together. We're going to lower them down for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold them. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back. Lower. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back. Now as we're holding, squeeze the sides of your waist in. Draw that navel back. Here we go. Lower. 4, 3, 2, 1. Draw in. 3, 2, 1. Come back. We got 3 more to go. Lower. 3, 2, 1. Hold. 3, 2, 1, come back. And then lower, 3, 2, 1, hold, 3, 2, 1, come back. Last round, yogis, here we go. Lower, 3, 2, 1, and hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, come back. Oh, bend your knees. Give yourself a little happy baby or some little windshield wipers like we did at the beginning. Whew. And yogis, it's time for some shavasana. So this pose is for your nervous system, because all of our nervous systems could probably use a break. So we just stretch out. You can put support under your legs or keep your legs in constructive rest if that keeps your low back happier. Oh. And then let go. It might take a couple breaths. But relax your face. Let the eyes get a little heavier. Unwind any tension from between the eyebrows or around the temples. Let the lips relax. Let the teeth part just a little bit so the mouth is really soft. Relax through the shoulders, all the way down to the palms. Unwind any tension that develops in the chest muscles or the upper abdomen. Let the hips relax. Let the legs grow heavy and let the soles of the feet just spread out a little wider so the toes gently release away from each other. Let the whole body relax. Don't let your mind tempt you to leave here yet. Just stay a little bit longer, a couple more minutes. Yogis, just notice that your body is breathing again. Take some really deep breaths all the way down to your toes. Give your body all of the freedom it needs to let that diaphragm just fully expand. One more big breath like that. And then give yourself a big stretch. Maybe a little banana to each side. You can curl in, give yourself a little back massage. When you're ready, we're going to roll ourselves over and eventually come to a seated position. Well, thank you for hanging with me through the technical issues this morning and for joining me through a little yoga Pilates fusion. Let's do a big breath together. Nice big inhale. Big sigh. Welcome to the rest of your day. Namaste.